What's up, trade crew? Welcome back to HVAC R&D, hosted by Rhydon and powered by Bosch Home Comfort. Tonight, I've got another excellent guest. He is another trades-focused entrepreneur that is helping to bring more people into the trades. So without further ado, let's get it going. Yeah, come on. What's up, trade crew? Welcome back to the show. Thank you for being here. Thank you for spending some time with me. I cannot believe that AHR is only 3 months away. I've been watching previews and clips and different things on the Gram and other social media platforms this last week, and I honestly can't believe it's already almost here. But I'm very excited to be back at the podcast pavilion again. If you're down there and you're at the show, please come and see me. I will be in Pavilion 1 or A, however they decide to label it, at 11 o'clock on Monday, and Pavilion 2 or B at 11 o'clock on Tuesday. And then Wednesday morning, I will be with workforce development again on the floor with some students. So very excited to continue the HVAC R&D tradition of being involved with workforce development, which we have been since 2023, as well as having a huge support from Bosch last year for a donation in Chicago for 2024. And I'm looking forward to working with everybody again this year for 2025. If you've not listened to the show before, thank you for giving me a chance, spending some time with me. HVAC R&D is based in North Carolina, and it is focused on research and development within the trades. My goal is to help foster and build a supportive and collaborative HVAC community by learning from the past and embracing new technology and ideas for the future. Please make sure to smash that like or subscribe button wherever you're listening to me, whether it be on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify, or one of many other platforms. Please go follow the show as HVAC.R&D on Instagram and TikTok, and on LinkedIn, TradeHounds, and Facebook as the HVAC R&D Podcast. And you can catch new episodes every other Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern or 2 p.m. Pacific. As we get into 2025, there will definitely be a lot more shows as we continue to ramp some things up that I'm very excited about once we get to the new year. If you want to work with me, sponsor a show, or collaborate, please reach out via the contact link on hvacrnd.com or shoot me an email at hvacrnd@gmail.com. Don't forget to check out the vendor hub for more details on Bosch, Global the Source, as well as discounts from BetterHelp, Chirp, and Service Titan. And lastly, please make sure to go check out the Pink Warrior hats, some Cajun Joe's Bayou Spice, and all the cool stuff in the HVAC R&D swag shop, and be sure to join the mailing list at the bottom of the page. Coming to the show tonight, I would really like to introduce Ruchir Shah, founder and CEO of SkillCat, an innovative platform bridging the gap between technology and the trades, offering training in HVAC, appliance repair and maintenance, electrical, and plumbing. With a focus on addressing the ongoing trade worker shortage, Ruchir and his team are making it easier for people to enter the skilled trades industry. I'm excited to dive into his journey, SkillCat's mission, and the future of trades education. So Ruchir, welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thank you. Very excited to be here.
No, I'm excited to talk about this. There's a lot of cool things that have been coming out in the last several years with apps and different technologies. So I'm really curious to kind of see how you got into this and what you're doing to get more people into the trades. But on this show, the first thing we got to do is, what are you drinking?
I am kind of lame, maybe. I'm having a White Claw.
Hey, there have been worse.
Yeah. What's been the worst you've heard?
The guys, well, sorry, this sounds awful, but it's like there's some shows like I never knew if a guy was gonna drink with me or not. I'm like, what'd you bring to the show? He's like, water. Oh, okay. Let me break out my double bourbon over here. Sorry. But no, I never care. It's always been one of the fun things that we've done on the show since we started. Was, it's meant to be a show we listen to Friday afternoon on the way home. So, we'll crack a beer before you get home, and then hopefully you'll have some inspiration to think about when you crack yours. What flavor White Claw?
Watermelon.
Hey, I can dig it.
Yeah, it's great. It's better. It's better than water. I'll take that.
It's better than water. It's better than water. All right.
Oh, I love that noise.
And that just foamed everywhere. I'm not even kidding. Like, it's all in my lap. Holy crap. That's the first time that's happened in a long time. Sorry, trade crew. Party foul from the go. That's what I get. So I'm drinking an Outlaw.
Okay. Nice.
So not a White Claw, but an Outlaw.
Yeah.
I'm actually wearing about as much of it as I'm probably going to get to drink now. Whew. Refreshing in two ways. It's been a long, hot day. I just needed an early shower.
Perfect.
Didn't know it was going to be with additional hops.
Yeah, nothing beats beer. It's
No, nothing beats. I guess it almost feels like I shotgunned the beer, other than the fact that I didn't.
Yeah, you smell like college or something.
I definitely smell like college now, or I smell like a trade worker on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah,
it's been a long day. Tired of crawling in the attic. I'm done in the crawl space. I have more crawl space confessions, but I need a beer first. Oh, so, all right. Well, now that I've dumped my beer everywhere, definitely know we'll get a refill later. But so, what you been up to lately? I know there's some cool announcements. I don't know when you want to drag some of those up. We may save them for a little bit later. Yeah, what's been keeping you busy lately?
Life's been good. SkillCat's been really exciting. I guess personally, I live in New York City. We're having a big Halloween party this weekend, so
nice.
Things have been good personally. SkillCat, lots of stuff happening. We're actually doing this really cool partnership with Brian Orr, an HVAC school.
Yep, I just saw that announcement.
Yeah. It's been incredible working with their team. I'm not sure if you've ever spent any time with Brian or the folks at Kalos and HVAC school.
I've spent a little bit with Brian. I know he's been part of the last couple of AHR workforce developments that I've also been a part of. So that was really where I met him for the first time.
Yeah, they've built so really exciting partnership. Basically, we're going to be bringing on all HVAC school content. So all the incredible videos and animations and even the podcast content onto the SkillCat platform and building out courses, leveraging all of that content. So
nice.
Really, really exciting. I got a chance last week to I was in Orlando for Service World Expo and got to spend a lot of time with Brian and his team at Kalos, and they've built an incredible culture. So this was just a blast, actually, being there and really excited to work with them on bringing a lot more content out to SkillCat users.
Well, and I know that probably, what would you say that actually brings into your library? I mean, is that double what you guys have, triple it? Kind of where does that, how big of a real ad is that for you?
Yeah, I think it's huge. So it's probably about a new 1,000 hours or so of content we'll be able to bring onto the platform. We have about 1,500 hours or so right now. So pretty much doubling it.
Nice.
And I think it's some really great content, right? So we started as a trade school, and we have EPA 608, a lot of certifications, and so this will kind of let us offer a lot more advanced material, a lot of videos to enhance all of our existing courses. So it's going to be really exciting. I think every single course on the platform will change for the better, and then we'll also be able to offer a whole bunch of new courses as well.
Nice. I need to really dig into it and see how I can use some of it to even give my own contractors, during my day-to-day job, another avenue for their technicians. Because there's a lot of times where they want to give guys more opportunity to do things, but certain times of the year, at times it's really busy and it's hard to travel to get guys where they need to be from time to time, depending on where they're located. I've got
Hmm.
customers that are up in the mountains that if they were to drive to a class, sometimes it's 2-3 hours one way. Well, both ways really. So, I mean, they could spend the better part of an entire day just trying to drive to the class. So things like this and other online based and even
Yeah.
virtual reality style trainings are becoming much more common and much more reliable.
Yeah, I think for us, it's just how do you make it as easy as possible for folks to learn, right?
Yep.
If you're out in the field, we don't have a computer, but you have your mobile phone, and it's really easy to go through training, as easily as possible, right? So just making that as accessible as possible for everyone.
And it's like, well, how do you top that? It's like you just bring Brian Orr onto the show. It's like
And
one of the biggest legends in developing training content of any of the podcasters. It's funny. I've had people ask us in the past, like, what's really the focus of your show? And I said, the focus of my show is community and building camaraderie between the trades and telling everyone that it's okay to work together to get better. That's really what this show was built for. And it was meant to be, it's the show that guys listen to at 5 o'clock on a drive home on a Friday,
mm-hmm,
to be able
mm-hmm.
to just kind of hear the stories and hear the different things about the trades and, joke a little bit, laugh a little bit, get something out of it. There are so many people like Brian and like your own app, SkillCat, that create such great, valuable educational content. I don't want to take that away from those people. I don't want to muddy those waters in any way. I would rather be the guy that helps push people to you guys and to Brian because you're so good at what you do.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think by profiling, there's so many really really cool and interesting people out there in this industry that are doing phenomenal things, and so I think just profiling those people goes a really long way.
Oh, and guys like Craig too, the stuff he's done
Yeah,
with mini splits and other things, he is fantastic.
yeah, absolutely.
You talking about Service World? That's actually a conference that I've never really talked to about on this show very much because I've not been to it. Want to give everybody kind of a breakdown of some cool stuff you got to see there?
Yeah, it was a good conference. It was, and they were a little bit lighter than normal because of the hurricane. It was in Orlando, so
Makes
it was a
sense.
little lighter. But it was no, it was a good conference. We were mostly at our booth, so we got to talk to a lot of people though. So a lot of technicians and plumbers and folks. Quite a few people came by our booth who actually knew about SkillCat or had hired someone from SkillCat. So for us, it's just really cool to understand that people actually know about us, even though we're just this little online app. So that was pretty cool. What else was interesting? Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a pretty light conference overall, just because I think a lot of folks were not around. Um, we had popcorn at our booth, which was a big hit for anyone who stopped by.
I was gonna say that was probably a big hit and also a big pain in the rear end. I
Yeah,
know what it was like. Distributor I worked at for years, we had a popcorn machine,
yeah.
and guys loved it. But you would be amazed at how many contractors don't know where their mouth is.
Mhm.
And as much as they like to talk out of it, and we all like to talk out of it, they miss it very often with the old popcorn.
Yeah,
And then then it gets work boot trampled into the floor, into the carpet. That's always fun.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. There's definitely some of that.
popcorn can be a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to AHR, or do you have do you go to multiple conferences? I'm surprised did you send anybody to women in HVAC, or is Jennifer or anybody out there that's repping you guys there?
No, I don't think so. Not this year. We're relatively light on conferences. So this was the first service role we had a booth. Like I've actually never been to AHR. We're planning to go in February,
Nice.
and this symposium as well. So we're stepping it up. I think we've been really focused on our product. How do you add more courses? And then now we're finally trying to really get our name out there. So you'll be at AHR?
Yes, I will. I'll be in the
Awesome.
podcast pavilion again. So I'm
Awesome.
excited about that. With a lot of things I had going on with work and then with some other stuff. I did not get my video to Nicole and everyone in time, so the logo made it onto the promo video that was released on National Podcast Day, but unfortunately, my glowing podcast radiant face did not. But no, it's a good time. I'm excited for it. I'm trying to remember if I've actually booked my time slots. Now I gotta look and see. I think I'm 11 o'clock Monday and Tuesday in Pavilion 1 or A. What's funny is sometimes on the paperwork it's Pavilion 1, but then you get there and it's Pavilion A, and then it's opposite the other way. You never know what you're walking into.
And I've never been. I mean, I've heard it's massive, right?
Well, it'll be my first in Orlando. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been to Atlanta twice. I've been to Atlanta in 2019 and then 23, and then just went to Chicago. Was supposed to be in Vegas, but unfortunately I got COVID in 22 and didn't go. Couldn't get on the plane with that.
Yeah.
This will be my fifth AHR, which will be fun. And then my company does a huge mixer with all the different companies that we're a part of the weekend before, and then which typically we do on Saturday, and then Sunday we've got tactical awards, and then Monday the show starts. So, I mean, it's literally 4 or 5 days of just go, 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 go.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like it's going to be a blast. I'm very excited.
I think it will be. Well, and talking about kind of other travel and stuff, I spent a little bit of time on the road today. I know on the opening of the show for Ashland's show, I really talked a little bit about some of the stuff that's happened up in Western North Carolina, up in the mountains. And I've got customers and friends and family all over the high country in different places. And I went up there today to make a couple of deliveries. And this is, what are we, 3 or 4 weeks, post Helene now.
Mm-hmm.
People, honest to God, do not understand how devastated Western North Carolina was by this storm.
Oh man.
You
Yeah.
see media always covers everything in Florida, and it gets hit and then it's rebuilt in a couple, not all the time, but a lot of times it almost seems like it's rebuilt quick. They push all the sand back to the beach and just go back to normal. And
Mm-hmm.
most at this point, after so many decades of hurricanes and years and hundreds of years of hurricanes, most stuff in Florida is built for that kind of storm, for one.
Mm-hmm.
And two, in most cases, it's relatively flat. So it's
Mm-hmm.
it's quicker cleanup, it's quicker rebuild. The mountains are not built for that. They're not ready for it. This quite literally was a 1,000-year flood event for most of Western North Carolina. People up
Mm-hmm.
there don't have flood insurance because why do you need flood insurance at 5,000 feet?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and
They weren't expecting it at all, and it's like a
no,
time effort.
no,
Yeah. Yeah.
and what people miss about the damage is, you think about a storm that dumps 30 inches of rain in 24 hours at 6,500 feet. And some people do, some people don't. But what people miss is that, okay, all that water's up there. Well, now it's going to run downhill for a mile until it hits places like Chimney Rock and Swannanoa and Asheville. And you think about the amount of water, the amount of debris it's picked up over that crazy distance and how fast it's flown. And it absolutely, I mean, it redefined the landscape up there. I mean, hundreds of landslides, thousands of bridges and roads destroyed or damaged in one way or another. One job site we went to today, we had to go up Highway 19, which if you actually take Highway 19 from where we're just north of Newland, which I'd say if you look at a map of North Carolina, kind of and if you find Asheville, if you kind of look north of Asheville and then start going northeast, you'll see different places up towards Boone. So before Boone and those areas to the east, to the west of that, you'll see Newland, Spruce Pine, a lot of places that you'll hear some stuff on the news for, but not a lot. But Highway 19 going towards Spruce Pine, there are literally football field sized piles of debris that are 15 to 30 feet high. I mean, it is insane the amount of
Wow.
damage that has happened. There are temporary debris fields where they're sending dump trucks up to try to pick up all the stuff that people have had to rip out of their house and put on the side of the road to get picked up and brought to these debris sites. It'll bring a tear to your eye if you're from that place. I could not take pictures today. It's that devastating.
Wow.
And
That's terrible.
it's October, but it's already freezing conditions at night up there.
Wow.
A lot of these people don't have I will tell you, the power companies and so many independent people have pulled together and gone up there and helped these mountain people like people would not believe. But it's always the first month people get help. The biggest fear is this is not a recover in a month, recover in 2 months. This is recover over years. Some places recover over decades. How are these people going to get through all that without help? Especially, like you said, no one's got flood insurance up there. Insurance companies are already denying people left and right.
Wow.
It's rough. And what's crazy is if you go and talk to the people up there, they don't have broken spirits. They won't. You ask them what they need to help them, they say, no, go help someone else that needs it more than me. Even if they're the ones that have nothing.
Yeah.
It's a very humbling experience that I wish more people in some ways would actually see to know what's going on up there. And I know that kind of brought down the mood of the show a little bit. It's not meant to.
No, but that's super tough. I'm really glad that you're sharing some of that. I think it's for folks in other parts of the country, people just don't realize how bad it is. So,
and the thing is, it's the tradespeople, it's our people that will rebuild all this. It's the tradespeople that need support as much as anyone else to help put these people's worlds back together.
Yeah.
So, that was the whole point of, I started the GoFundMe for HVAC R&D. It's still out there. Please donate if you can. If you've got $5 and you can help, this has literally become a trade people and a trade crew funded support system for the tradespeople of Western North Carolina. That's truly what it's become. When I look at the people that have donated to different things, it's all other trades guys. It's people that listen to the show. It's people that each and every day, but I'm not going to call their names out. But I'm so grateful for everybody that's pitched in. I've identified at least the first person that we're going to try to help, but I'm not going to dig into it too much because I know they listen to the show. So I'm not going to let any of that out of the bag, but we are in the works of getting stuff to people. So if you can help, please do.
Yeah. No, that's really great.
There's a lot more that's going to have to happen up there. And I mean, even if you look at people that I work with, a lot of people that listen to this show also probably listen to Tony Mormino, which is the Engineers HVAC podcast, sponsored by Insight Partners and Air Control Concepts, which is where I also work. It was kind of cool joining a company that also, had a podcaster. So I had someone else that was, a kindred spirit. But, he worked in our Asheville office, which is actually north of Asheville a little bit in the town called Marshall. And Marshall is probably one of the most devastated small towns in most of Western North Carolina. His and Sean's office was under 6 feet of water, which,
Wow.
It's been a month now. If you look at, everything that's been done in the office, try to start getting it put back together. I'd say they're probably still at least a month or so from getting back in there, but the cleanup effort through there has been immense. The way community has pulled together up there is the way it was always supposed to be. I think a lot more people could learn to be better neighbors and better friends if they see the things that, or really saw firsthand the things that have happened up in those areas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a reason people listen to the show are called the Trade Crew. It's because of stuff like this. We come together when we needed.
No, it's a really incredible industry and group of people who just actually help each other a lot. I think it's just a really great community, the folks in the trades. Everyone cares about everyone else and actually helps a lot.
I'd have to feel you probably in some ways have that same mentality. What do you enjoy the most about really working in the trade sector? Trade Crew contractors, when you need a system that balances performance with affordability, Bosch IDS Lite delivers. Offering up to 16 SEER2 and 9 HSPF2, these systems ensure optimal comfort while maximizing energy efficiency. With whisper quiet operation, the IDS lights, inverter heat pumps, and matching air handler or dual fuel options are perfect for homeowners who want comfort without the noise. Plus, your customers will love how much they save on their energy bills thanks to Bosch's variable speed capacity technology. It's a win for you and your customers. And let's be honest, who doesn't like winning? Bosch IDS Lite, the ideal choice for contractors who want the job done right the first time. Available now at Inside Partners in the Carolinas, and if you're looking for your local distributor, check out the resources through the Bosch link in the HVACRD.com vendor hub. And now, back to the show.
I think people are so real, right? I mean, I don't like most of my life. I've worked. Most of my friends, most people I know are like folks in office jobs, and I went to business school, and I have been blown away by how fun it is to hang out with folks in the trades. People are real. Like there's no there's a lot less bullshit and just doing things for appearances. People are honest. They're real. They make fun of you when like everyone's people
Yeah, they
shit
do.
talk, like everything is like it's everyone's just real, everyone's honest, and there's a good people who are just being they're just real. So I think that's been really really cool to experience because you don't see that in a lot of other places. Like people are just like you people are what you see, right? Like which is pretty awesome.
I think that's one of the reasons that podcasts and social media has taken off in the trades is because I'll be honest, I'm yet to really meet another one of the podcast people or other social media people that aren't just truly who they are. One of the first ones that I met in person was Pat Finley from Commercial Kitchen Chronicles, which
Mhm.
he messaged me today because he actually does some training at the Cepheza School down here in Rock Hill in Fort Mill area, right across the border south of Charlotte. He's going to be down here in the next couple of weeks, so I am pumped to try to have Chris and I take him out to dinner and go spend some time with him because he's always fun to have in town. When most of us, when we all travel and we're close to each other, we talk, and if we can see each other, we do. It extends that trade community so much more broad than it ever was before.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's great people all over the country, and yeah, a lot of these podcasts. You also have the live ones where you can. There's so many folks in the
Yep.
comments, and you just get a sense to see, what a great community it is.
And speaking of that, so how did you first get interested in HVAC and the trade industry in general? Let's kind of talk about your journey into it, and then we'll talk about how that started the gears turning for you to come up and build SkillCat later on.
Yeah, so I've always been super passionate about education, and my senior year of college, I built I did policy research on the BP oil spill, and
Okay.
training was one of the biggest issues that caused that whole incident, and so built out a company right out of college, building online courses and simulations for oil and gas workers. And so I ran that company for a while, and then went to business school, came out, and it was COVID, and everyone in oil and gas was getting laid off, and they were going from these great jobs to working minimum wage at a grocery store because they just didn't know what other industries could use their skills or how to get there.
Yep.
And if you look high level, this has been happening in the US for the last 50 years as people move out of jobs like manufacturing or coal. It isn't obvious how you go to other industries or what industries share similar skills. And
Correct.
so that's kind of where the idea for SkillCat emerged, was how do you make it really easy for folks to reskill or get into the trades, without having to go for a year, 2 years into a trade school, or without having to spend a tremendous amount of money on a more traditional schooling program. And so that's how SkillCat got started. And then, we've just grown from there. We've trained about 300,000 people now, and we're just really focused on bringing more great people into the trades.
What were some of your early challenges as you were really, besides obviously building businesses during COVID, which that's how, this show started during COVID.
Oh wow.
I went from being an outside sales guy that spent, most of his time with my customers to all of a sudden I'm locked in an office and I can't see or really even talk to any of them. So, how do I reach, how can I reach those people and reach, even an extended group of people beyond that, just to try to figure out a way to keep the community going and the things growing. So that's how this show even started.
No, it's COVID. I think was a hardship brings out creativity in people, right? So I think COVID was just I think a lot of really incredible things have started in COVID because it brings out this. Hardship brings out creativity. So.
Did you have any family ties or any kind of background ties to the trades growing up? Did you have family, friends, grandparents, anyone that were in the trades?
No, actually, no. So I've truly, and at least before I got started, first kind of in oil and gas, and then in HVAC, I'm really an outsider. So no family connections. Kind of drilled into my head from an early age, like college is the way, and that's it. I think I was just never exposed to the trades and what incredible jobs these are, how happy people are in the trades, how much money you can make. They're all things I've kind of picked up as I've gone.
And see, that's even more interesting because it's not very often that you get people that are wanting to help the trades that came from outside of it. It's very rare. I would say at least, I'm trying to think, what's a conservative estimate? I would say probably 70 to 80% of the people I deal with on a daily basis that are in the trades is because they were either born into it or someone that they were friends with or family with got them into it. It was, in a lot of cases, it was almost never you know what, I'm going to go help those people or figure that out.
Yeah, but I think that's so unfortunate, right? You see like so many startups coming out of Silicon Valley that are focused on like getting more people into software developer jobs or helping software developers, or how do you empower them to have a great career. There are there's a larger shortage of people in the skill trades. There's more jobs. People make a lot more money in some cases, and like people are happier. So like why are the trades so isolated from the rest of the economy, right? So I actually think one of my missions, one of my goals is to expose the trades to just a lot more people all across the country who may otherwise have not considered them either as options for themselves or for their kids or for people they know around them. Because there's great, really, really great jobs. Everyone should not be going to college. Most people should not be going to college. This is a much better way to make a living and to do really, really well as well.
Well, and like you mentioned, you were raised that college was where you had to go, and I was too.
Yeah.
Even though I was raised in a trade business, it was, you're going to college. That's what you're going to do. Okay. I'm glad I did, but I'm also glad I had a trade because I worked my way through school. Luckily, most people don't have that option. They go into a massive amount of student debt. And again, that all falls back onto was college really the right decision for what you wanted to do in life?
Mm-hmm.
Or did you even know what you wanted to do in life? That's the other big flaw that that really puts people in the hole when it comes to going to school.
If you don't know what you want to do, you shouldn't spend, $200,000 on college.
No, not at all. What were kind of some pivotal moments that really shaped the initial direction of SkillCat? You've been through the oil and gas industry. Now you're going into primarily the trades with this venture. Did you start with HVAC and all in multiple trades, or what was the very first trade class you did through SkillCat? Like what got it off the ground?
Yeah, we started with HVAC, and actually the first was EPA 608 certification. Honestly, without having any previous background with the trades, it was really just doing a lot of research and trying to get conversations with a bunch of folks in different industries and figuring out hey, which industries can you make the most money? Which industries have the biggest shortage of people needed? And in which industries, uh, is there a need for certification? And so just did a bunch of research, have a spreadsheet full of different industries in the trades, everything from, you know, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, to telecom, manufacturing, solar, wind, a bunch of different trades. And we chose HVAC, and then really just focused in. And then, so our first course we built out was EPA 608 certification. And then we got that training created. We got credit approved by the EPA to offer that test and that exam in the app. And
Nice.
that was course number one. And then we've just grown since then.
I think having an app option for an EPA test is massive. I haven't done it in years, but I used to proctor EPA tests for a distributor I worked for, and I would probably do, I would say, a couple dozen a year. I'd have the guys come in, set up at a computer, and have at it, fellas. But it was always semi-expensive. I mean, not crazy, but it was semi-expensive. And then I would have some companies that if the guy passed, the company paid for it. If he failed, he had to pay to take his retest. And then if he passed, then they'd come back and pay it for him. But they wanted to have skin in the game to make sure they actually studied.
Yeah.
I think moving that stuff to a more accessible platform where guys could even get certified in the evening, they wouldn't necessarily have to get out of work to go and do those things, is very positive.
Yeah.
Obviously, technology is going to play a massive role in the future, but how do you see technology continuing to really advance your ability to educate future tradespeople? What's up, trade crew? Are you tired of playing microfarad hide and seek with your service truck inventory? I think it's time that you tested out the Turbo 200 family from Amrad Manufacturing and Global to Source, where efficiency meets durability and finding the right capacitor is never a game of chance. With the Turbo family of universal capacitors, you're not just getting any regular capacitor. No. You're getting the HVAC industry's version of a superhero cape. Reliable, efficient, ready to save the day, these ruggedly tested, made in the USA capacitors are prepared for whatever you run into during your service calls. These truly unique and industry-changing universal capacitors allow you to replace over 200 individual sizes with just their 4 models: the Turbo 200, Turbo 200X, Turbo Mini, and Turbo Mini Oval. And did I mention they have a 5-year warranty? Seriously, what are you waiting for? Do the math and upgrade your truck stock setup today, because the Turbo family has got you covered. Visit the HVAC R&D Vendor Hub and click on the Global to Source link to request training from a local account executive in your market. Easy peasy. Amrad Manufacturing, where performance meets perfection. Because in the world of HVAC, good enough isn't in our vocabulary. It's turbo or nothing. And now, back to the show.
I think there's some incredible stuff you can do. It's clearly a hands-on trade, right? Nothing beats actually being hands-on. But one of the things with a lot of technology today is you can make that experience as close as possible, right? So we have a lot of virtual simulations where folks can, in a gamified environment, actually go through and get a sense of what it's actually like to do some of these situations in the field. And we have 3D animations that let you actually do more than you might be able to do in a classroom, because you can actually visualize electricity and like fluids moving around where you can't actually see it in real life. But in animation, you can pretty much see anything. So I think multimedia is really useful for education. And then I think just technology makes it easy, right? So just really mobile technology makes it easy for folks to take advantage of training and go through and keep learning anytime, anywhere in the field, which can be really powerful.
Well, and you talk about the visual aspect of it. We we joked at the start of this show that we like it to be a show that you can learn or you can listen to without having to have a visual aid, so you can listen to us driving down the road and not have to stare at YouTube on your phone the whole time. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I struggled with when I was learning and doing different things was understanding the visual aspect of certain things. A lot of times it was just these huge chunks of text. Now, my father
Mm-hmm.
has an amazing mechanical mind, mechanical brain, and he can look at something and he can see everything moving in it without opening the box.
Mm-hmm.
I have more of the analytical side, but I need to see it differently.
Mm-hmm.
When I would do online trainings, which some of the first ones I ever used were things through Rhydon's Academy, couple decades ago when I first started really learning stuff, they were just starting to have real visual training where you could see like refrigerant moving from this to this. So, this is how the change of state happens in a compressor, and then it goes from here, and then it goes to your evaporator, then it comes back to your condenser. So I could see the parts moving, and it helped take this multi-paragraph of text and put it into a relatable visual context that made sense. And I think there's more people, especially the way our generation was raised, was so much more visual geared.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it helps more young people actually be able to more quickly grasp and move towards the trades as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just like you need to see a lot of these things, right? It's like and then it's where animation is even more useful because like electricity, a lot of electrical concepts are tough, right? But
Uh-huh.
you can actually through animation you can visualize like where current is moving, and you can actually understand why what your meter is showing at different times. Like it helps bring concepts that are otherwise really complicated to life in a very obvious and visual way.
Well, and as we get into some of those things, tell me kind of about your team and what the day to day operations look like as you're growing and expanding this.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a software team that like builds our app and makes that a really good experience for users, and then we also have this really great content team. It's a mix of instructional designers who are really great teachers, animators, and simulation designers who are really great graphics artists, and then subject matter experts with years of experience in the field in HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. And so we kind of bring those three groups together and are able to create strong, meaningful content. So yeah, that's kind of what our team looks like, and I think we really appreciate feedback. And so for us, getting feedback from uh, a very honest group of technicians, right? I think all technicians are pretty honest and direct, which means if they like you, they'll tell everyone. But if they don't like you, they'll also tell everyone, and they'll share all that feedback online very vividly. And so,
No, they will.
yeah, I always talk about how that's helped us. I mean, so I think when we first launched our app, we were 2 stars in the Play Store, and people were very very aggressive in their negative feedback. And it was like they were just really it was good feedback. They just didn't like it. They were frustrated about things in the app, and so we take all of that feedback and our team uses it and like actually implements it. And so we're in the process right now of revamping almost all of our courses based on different feedback we've gotten over the past few months. But our Play Store rating now, we're at 5 stars, and to be able to go from 2 stars to 5 stars with 4 or 5 thousand reviews because we just really paid attention to I mean, I actually thank all of these people who have been negative and aggressive because they actually force us to change. Like it hurts and it's like tough when you hear some of these things, but then you actually, I think the best organizations take that feedback, listen, understand, and implement it so that next time someone just like that user will have a better experience.
I agree with that because that's kind of the same thing I want to see when I have interactions with customers in outside sales. It said, if there's, I can't fix a problem if I don't know it exists.
Mm-hmm.
I want guys to be honest with me because I'm going to be as honest as I possibly can with them. It's like if we had a delivery go south and something was screwed up, man, don't tell me a week later. Call me, tell me. Let me figure out how to make it right. Let's fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Because time's money for all of us. I can't have something I did wrong or unfortunately, a team member messed up by accident. Let's fix it.
Yeah. Yeah, of
And
course.
you talk about the negative reviews. You see the same thing. You see the same thing in especially the contracting side. It's like you do a great job, and one person will write a review about it. If you did a bad job for that same person, they're going to tell 10 people and write 10 reviews about how bad it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's always a 10 times effect for if you screwed up versus if you did well. And it's also important for people to know and to hear that you and your team want feedback and you want to continue improving, because there's a lot of people out there that have built an app and they're like, yeah, well, that's what it is. If you don't like it, fine, here it is.
Yeah.
That's why they fall away and disappear.
No, we want to build something that's incredible, and we're here for the long haul, right? So we don't want to we're not private equity backed. We're not trying to like build something, make a lot of money, and then leave. Like we want to build something that people will love, tell everybody about, and then ideally stay subscribed to SkillCat for their entire lifetime as we build out new courses and help people adjust and grow as the industry changes. And so we're here for the long haul, which means putting the product first, putting your customers first, and just really fighting to put your customer first at all time.
Do you have metrics of any kind in terms of the impact you're seeing on recruitment and retention of employees for companies that embrace your trained professionals or send people your way to help them kind of build their career? Are you seeing people stay in jobs longer or progress longer with certain companies, or do you have any information on that?
Yeah, we've definitely seen. A lot of the companies, so we offer direct training to technicians, right? So where folks can get trained and certified to get into the industry, or a lot of folks who are already in the industry but are looking for additional sources of training and can go through SkillCat to keep learning. And then we also work with a bunch of companies that use us for apprenticeship programs. If they're hiring folks who are entry level, they use us as a resource to help folks continue learning and growing and just getting skills and getting independent faster. And so, most of our companies, to be honest, have come from people they've hired who are individual on our platform. And they've been like, wow, this person knows a lot. Where did you learn all of this? And that's where they come to SkillCat. It's actually like even how Brian initially found out about us was because there were folks that he hired who had gone through SkillCat and learned a lot on the platform. So there's it's as an industry, I think HVAC and the trades in general, people are not immediately trusting, but
No.
and it's because of that it's extremely easy also to lose folks' trust. And so for us, that's why it's like been really important to make sure every single student has a great experience, because there's nothing better to spread the word about SkillCat than a happy user. Like we can put all the paid ads in the world, but one happy user, sharing does a million times better.
Turn up the heat in your kitchen, trade crew, using Cajun Joe's Bayou Spice, the original blend that brings the bold, authentic flavors of the Bayou straight to your table. Perfect for grilling, sauteing, low country boiling, or seasoning any dish, Cajun Joe's adds the perfect kick of heat and spice. Whether it's seafood, chicken, gator, beef, pork, veggies, or more, you'll love how this blend transforms your meals. Ready to take your cooking to the next level? Grab your jar today in the HVAC R&D swag shop. Just visit hvacrnd.com and spice up your life with Cajun Joe's Bayou Spice. And now, back to the show. Well, I guess it's genuine.
Yeah.
And people, we talk about people in the trades, in most cases, can sniff out bullshit from a mile away. You can, in a lot of cases, you can really tell when it's just paid partnership or, hey, this changed my career, give it a shot.
Yeah, we hear that all the time. So I love like sharing stories about different people, but we get so many stories of people who say that we've changed their life and we really helped them achieve things and just access opportunities they never thought they'd be able to afford or get access to. And so, yeah, that really drives our team.
I'll back up just a little bit. As you talk about how you continue to expand within the trades. You started with HVAC. What was your next trade after that? And when did you decide to make that step? Like, what prompted? Like, okay, now we're going to do what was next.
So we just started getting companies who were also. So I think the first big move from HVAC was to maintenance, and specifically multifamily maintenance.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's a whole other question.
We realized like that a lot of the folks on our platform were just maintenance technicians at these big apartment complexes who didn't have any support. They were kind of alone with a building or a bunch of units. They had to learn HVAC, plumbing, and electrical and appliance repair, and had to figure it out kind of on their own as they went. And so we had a ton of people come in who were in that group, and we were like, hey, we need to start targeting this group further. So that was just from the people who ended up finding out about it. I mean, they also searched for HVAC training, just like an HVAC tech might. But yeah, so that was the first group we went after.
That's actually genius. I'll go out and say that one. Well, and I've got a couple of multifamily contractors, and we've talked about at different times. You talk about the type of equipment, especially the way things are going. Right now, most maintenance guys, they can work on a single stage piece of gear in the apartment. They weren't trained HVAC technicians. They've not done installs. They've not done service. Mm-hmm. You start looking at the way the industry's going. How can you get those guys up to speed with other types of products such as Bosch, like I sell on a day-to-day basis? Bosch makes apartment style equipment. The outdoor units are still a very small footprint. They can fit in a lot of places that newer equipment, especially Tier 2 equipment that got a whole lot bigger, really it's more and more difficult to replace stuff. These guys roll up on a single stage unit, you got control board, contactor, capacitor, basic troubleshooting. You roll up on an inverter board that's the size of 6 of your control boards in a regular unit together, and you've never seen it. And you're like, oh, holy shit. What do I do here? Apps like yours that can evolve and start incorporating different types of training for different types of equipment, even in a multifamily setting, can a lot of ways help the other side of the industry continue to evolve with these people.
Yeah, I mean it's a really fascinating group, maintenance techs. I think they're some of the hardest working folks who just don't have, and they often don't have any support, right? Because they're maybe working for a property manager or somebody pretty non-technical, and have to deal with a ton of work orders.
Yep.
Of all different types, and often got to figure it out on their own. And so a lot of those folks look to us for skills and learning and growth. And, often that's a great entry point if you actually want to work as an HVAC service tech as well.
Going through all those different trades, HVAC is the one trade that kind of encompasses all of them anyway.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that all the time, but you've got to know basic electrical to work on HVAC. You've got to understand basic plumbing to work on HVAC because you got to deal with water. You got to deal with power. You've got to deal with all these different things.
Yeah, no, HVAC is tough. Honestly, like one of the reasons we also started HVAC is a ton of people search for HVAC training on Google. A lot less people search for plumbing training or electrician training. And there could be a bunch of different reasons for that, but I think definitely it seems like one of them is how many different things are encapsulated in HVAC.
There's a reason they call it king of the trades.
Yeah.
What would you say is next for you guys in terms of developing and expanding into another trade sector?
So I think we see a lot of growth opportunities within the trades we're already in. So I think eventually we feel FOMO every day of some of the different trades. People will reach out from all of these industries and be like, oh, like you want to come into automotive? Like we need training for cars or for electric cars. And we would love to, but I think we want to focus first on really building out everything we need and want to do for HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. So I think like one of a big pieces of that is putting all of this HVAC school content, a lot of this more advanced content on commercial, that's on install, building a lot more of that content in from an HVAC perspective, and then building a lot more for plumbing and electrical. We're just adding a bunch of NATE courses to the platform for HVAC. We're looking at adding licensing courses for HVAC, plumbing, and electrical for each state.
I was going to say, now, is that going to be state to state specific? And that's a lot of red tape, I'm sure.
It's a project. It's a project, but someone needs to do it. And I think I think we're really excited to be able to democratize kind of that process of being able to get your license. So it's not super expensive and super challenging, but something you can kind of keep track of your own hours on your own and work towards that goal.
I think definitely the ability to keep track of your own hours would be excellent, because, and there's a lot of times where sometimes you didn't work for the right guy and he won't sign off on your hours. If there's another way to prove it through, an accredited app or something else, would make a huge difference for guys that eventually want to start their own business. So let's say technician wants to go out, start his own business. He's gotten his hours, he's gotten his license, but one of the biggest problems and one of the biggest reasons heating and air companies or any trade companies fail is because the guy starting the business, he's a great technician and he's great at doing the job, but he doesn't know how to run the business.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you guys offer any kind of basic business education, even so far as this is how you form your LLC or your sole proprietorship? Don't do that one. Or your corporation, or how you even go about getting the business off the ground? And is that something you've looked at to help build a kind of a stable of business foundation and business ethics courses to help these guys expand that side of their future?
Yeah, I mean, not yet, but it's definitely on our roadmap. But we did a survey. It's something like 40% of people on the platform wanted to eventually start their own company. So it's definitely on our roadmap. And I mean, yeah, I think this is one of the beautiful things about the trades is how easy it is to go out on your own, or even start with side gigs and get that going. So we're looking at some pretty cool partnerships with platforms like Thumbtack and like TaskRabbit, where you can start people with side gigs and then help them, get into their own jobs at some point. But yeah, nothing yet. It's definitely on our roadmap.
And like I said, it's the one place where I think a lot of these guys, if they had some basic understanding, it would really help them actually be more successful quicker in some ways.
No, it's a great idea.
Yeah, we can talk about that. Sidebar. I'd love to help. So let's talk about how virtual and augmented reality has really reshaped training. I know you talked about having visual aided training, but as you add those classes, do you see them being the more popular style of class that people go through, or is that primarily what you guys have?
So we have simulations that are kind of like gamified things on your phone. What we've actively stayed away from is anything that requires a VR headset. So we started initially with like a web version of our platform you needed to do on a computer. And then we realized that almost all the technicians using the platform were logging in on their phone. Because just folks are just in and out of the field all day. Like they're not at a computer all day like, an office worker might be. And so keeping training on your phone, making it accessible and easy is number one. And so because of that, we've tried to put as much as possible in terms of like simulations and more interactive, engaging game-like content on your phone. But we've stayed away, even though you can get some pretty incredible graphics with VR, it just isn't something that, most technicians, they don't own a headset. They don't have time to use a headset. It just doesn't actually fit the lives of most folks who are actually working in the field.
Well, because it's not practical to our day to day. It's just really not.
Like it looks cool, but it just hasn't. We just haven't seen it.
And I've been through experiences with different, VR based training programs, and they're great when you have the hardware to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the places where it's successful is the company itself will go and buy the gear,
Mm-hmm.
and then they'll put their guys through it. I've not seen it really, in most cases, take off at all on a in-home after hours additional self-education style, the way your app is built for people to be able to use.
Yeah, I mean, and even for the companies we work with, I think it's it's hard enough as it is sometimes to get folks to go through training, right? Like people are like, technicians are busy. They're spending all day working. And so I think for us, it's like the easier you can make that experience, even if your company has the financial ability to buy VR headsets, just the easier you can make it for the technician to make it part of their life and easy for them to go through and keep learning, the more likely they're going to go through a lot of training.
What do you think is the biggest misconception about the relationship between tech and training in the trades, aside from the fact that not everyone has a VR headset and no one sits at a computer all day?
Just like, how do you get them more excited about training? Is that what you're?
Well, I mean, and that's a good question too. But I think the misconception about relationship between technology and the trades is everyone is completely perfectly tech savvy in a lot of ways. I feel like a lot of homeowners think every single contractor is super tech savvy, and they are to a certain extent. There's ways where different generations are interacting with tech and the trades.
This is one of the benefits of mobile. I think because of like Apple and Google, they actually found a way. They've made phones easier than computers because like there's less things to click on. It's like simpler. And so we get a lot of really older folks who you might be like, oh, these people don't like technology, using our app. And so like one of the ways we've been able to make our app easier is we'll get calls. Like we would, like a year or two ago, we'd get calls from folks, 60s, 70s, like 11 p.m. struggling to finish their EPA certification. So we've had to make it pretty easy to use. And so I think we're like 20, 30 years into the internet, right? 30, 35 years. Like there's quite a few people, like even folks who are in their 60s or 70s were, 30s, 20s, 30s when they first got started using the internet. And so I would give people a little bit more credit than that. I think there's actually a lot of interest in technology. But yeah, I mean, absolutely not everyone. And we definitely, I think for young people, this is very much a native, like for a lot of young people, like they just can't imagine going to a classroom for like lectures and like, this is how they learn. But I would say all ages seem to be really embracing an app because it just makes things really easy.
One of the questions I was going to ask is, how does your digital approach to training stand out from traditional in-person programs? But I think really the course of our conversation has answered so much of that because you're seeing people be it's so much easier and quicker or more quickly accessible being able to do it through the app as opposed to, okay, well, I've got to go to, such and such community college building on such and such a day at such and such a time. And then I've got to make sure to be here from 6 to 9 on Tuesday for the next 6 weeks to do this, and this. And you've changed that dynamic for people.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of the folks, I mean, if you can afford going to a trade school and, you can afford the cost and you can afford like taking that time out of your life, I mean, great. There's some exceptional programs out there and you'll get some really incredible learning. But for all the people who can't, which there's just a lot of people out there who just can't afford that, we want to get you to a job and get you to a new career without, having to do that. We want to enable you to succeed as well.
How much more do you really see tech helping to close the skills gap in trades over the next decade?
I think it can be huge. And so I think if I look at it, there's two things that are creating this skills gap. One is awareness, and then the other is access. There's a ton of people who just don't know or realize how great trade jobs are and that the trade jobs even exist. And that's number one. And then number two, there's a lot of people who know how great they are, but can't afford either from time or from money, traditional avenues to get into the trades. And I think those are the two biggest reasons there's a shortage. And so through technology, you can make training, information about these jobs, all of that a lot more accessible. And I think just getting it out there and making it really engaging and accessible will ultimately solve the problem. So I think there's a wide variety of approaches, but I definitely think software is one of the biggest.
Trade crew contractors, are y'all looking for a line of ductless products that are as reliable as your craftsmanship? Then the Bosch Climate 5000 Generation 3 range of inverter ductless mini splits has got your back. With their sleek design and compact size, these mini splits are a breeze to install, even in tight spaces. You'll love how quick and hassle-free their setup is. Less time on the job means more satisfied customers, more jobs in the pipeline, and more profit to your company's bottom line. And don't worry about callbacks. This system is built Bosch tough, with dependable performance that keeps your clients comfortable year-round. Get the job done right the first time with the Bosch Climate 5000 Generation 3 of ductless inverter mini splits. The systems that work as hard as you do. Reach out to Insight Partners in the Carolinas and Georgia, or visit the HVAC R&D Vendor Hub and click on the Bosch logo to view all of their products and search for a distributor in your market today. And now, back to the show. Well, and I think that really that sums up so much of what you do and how your app works. And I'll get you to talk a little bit more about where people can find it in a few minutes. But I wanted to kind of roll into part of the end of the show, which is a segment called Give More in 2024, sponsored by Bosch Home Comfort. Really, this is kind of more, some of this is even personal as much as it is about your company and the app. Is SkillCat doing anything to truly give back to HVAC and trade communities through any kind of local, regional, or national initiatives that you guys are excited about?
Yeah, I mean, so this is really built into it. I think for me, one of the hardest decisions as CEO was to start charging for our app, right? We're all about being free. So I guess number one, we're still $10 a month. So there's been a lot of talk about, hey, you should raise your prices. Our goal is to keep our prices as low as possible and still succeed as a business. And so one is that we're $10 a month. The other, if anyone ever reaches out with a need or clear need for a scholarship, we give it to them. And so a lot of folks actually go through free training on our platform. We also have set up an initiative with this nonprofit called Explore the Trades, where we're actually giving SkillCat for free to any high schools all over the country. So it's been a really, really cool initiative. And the basic idea is if you want to, there are all these folks, shop classes disappeared in most parts of the country. So anyone that still has shop class or a trades class or is trying to actually get people trained and certified in the trades in high school, we want to support that initiative. And, when those students graduate, they might become paying users, they might not, but we want to be a part of that education process and make it easy for schools to benefit. So I think those are some of the things that we're really excited about. There's a pretty cool nonprofit initiative we're working on, which I can't announce just yet, but we're looking at some really neat nonprofit stuff over the next few months as well.
What advice would you give to others looking to foster growth for the next generation in the trades?
I think meet people where they are, right? So there's a lot of groups of people that we've noticed on our platform who don't typically show up in the trades. Like 20% of students on our platform are women. We have, a lot of African Americans. We have a lot of Spanish speakers. We have a crazy number of young people, right? So we get a lot of people who just traditionally people say, oh, they're not interested in the trades. So just kind of say, I wouldn't give up on any of these groups. I would just look for ways to make it easier for them. So find ways to make them feel less left out, make them feel more supported, help them with cohorts and groups of other people like them. So I think to solve the skilled trade worker shortage, you can't just rely on the same groups you always relied on. We got to find new groups who also would be a great fit for the trade.
Now, and that leads me into another question, actually. Do you guys do any kind of bilingual courses or any other different languages that you offer on the app yet?
Yeah, every single course is in Spanish and English. We've thought about other languages. So far, it's just those two. But at some point, we might add some others as well.
As an industry leader, what professional advice would you give to someone that is just starting their career in HVAC or in the trades, besides go use the SkillCat app?
It's great advice. Just learn. So I think like the people, time and time again, when you talk to experienced techs, you hear the best techs are just like absorb knowledge like sponges. So like SkillCat's obviously one resource, but there's so many podcasts. There's so many YouTube videos. there's so many people out there who would love to give you advice and help you and teach you. Like, just absorb knowledge like a sponge. And that seems to be how you grow. And that's how you grow probably in most fields, but especially in the trades where there's often less formal education in most companies. Just talk to people and absorb knowledge through all of these digital resources that are out there.
Like the HVAC R&D podcast.
Exactly.
So shameless self-plug. But lastly, so where can our listeners that are listening to us tonight, and hopefully those that they'll forward us to and share with their trade crew, where can they connect with you and SkillCat on social media and online to stay updated about products and innovations? And, where can they download the app? Tell everybody where to go find everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to download the app, skillcat.com, or search SkillCat on the App Store or Play Store. Social media, we have a great TikTok, SkillCat app. We're also Instagram, YouTube. You also, if you go through the app, if you have any questions, any feedback, feel free to email me directly. It's Ruchir, Ruchir, at skillcatapp.com.
Ruchir, thank you so much for taking time to speak with me and the trade crew tonight. If you're not following HVAC R&D online, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at hvac.rnd. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Trade Hounds, and Facebook as the HVAC R&D podcast. You can also find me as Rhydon Atzenhofer on LinkedIn. Please find me on there too. Thank you for listening to the show on your favorite platform, whether it be Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, any of it. Please follow the show, like and rate the show, leave me a review. Tell me how terrible I am so I can fix it. Share the show with your trade crew. Don't forget to go check out the website, hvacrnd.com, and the swag shop. If you want to work with me, you want to be a sponsor, you want to do anything like that, please reach out to me through the website or through hvacrnd@gmail.com. I hope everybody has a great week and a great weekend, trade crew, and I'll catch you soon. Peace.